All right, everyone, welcome to another edition of American Soccer Break. I have Rahi, and we had to up our game because the Women's World Cup has started. So we brought in a ringer. Welcome, Ishana, to the show.
Hi, thank you. Thank you for having me. I got my, US women's tee on. I have my jersey with the 4 stars, ready to add a fifth star to it.
She's
So,
actually wearing the proper, shirt as well.
Yeah, she's ready to rep, as are you. As am I. As am I. We're all ready. We're all ready.
We're all ready, and this is a big deal. So obviously, let's start it off. The U.S. women will begin their World Cup defense tomorrow, and so let's start there. What are we looking at?
Yeah, it's about to get really, really interesting. And this is the team that's going for the three-peat, right? Unprecedented to win 3 World Cups in a row. And it's a different challenge. This is the most competitive field I think we've ever seen in the history of women's soccer. So it's a real opportunity to demonstrate how good this team is, but also all of a sudden there's conversations around, right? England thinks they can win it. Germany thinks they can win it. Sweden thinks they can win it. France thinks they can win it. Australia is the host. They have a shot, the leading goal scorer in the world. So, I mean, this is an interesting time for this US team. And I feel like people have forgotten a little bit how good this team is and how good this program historically has been. So it's really exciting because I think it's an opportunity to show the world once again. I think the cup stays here.
yeah, I agree. Holistically, if we're talking, I think what's exciting about this World Cup is unfortunately the reason why is perhaps due to injuries. However, it has kind of leveled the playing field a little bit, and it is probably going to be the most competitive World Cup. It's definitely, in my eyes, in recent World Cups, obviously been probably it's going to be the most challenging for the US to step up. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of our top players with injuries. I know everyone was excited to see Mallory Swanson, Katarina. I wanted to see Kristen Press for her ACL injury. But that being said, I think it's exciting to see also with the young talent what they're going to bring. And it's exciting. I mean, it's always chill to watch the women in comparison to the men and not get an ulcer. But this time around, I feel like I can actually get a little shaky, a little
Yeah, so
nervous.
let's take a quick look at the roster now. So let's bring it up here. This is who we have going to the tournament. So what stands out for you guys?
I mean, I think the big exciting star, I mean, there's a few of them, right? We're missing Mel Swanson, as Shauna said. We're missing Katarina Macario, who would have lit this tournament on fire. But there's some really exciting players that we're about to discover. Trinity Rodman comes to mind as a player who is poised to break out. And I think she's on the verge of real stardom. And then Sophia Smith. Sophia Smith is filling the void in some ways of Mal Swanson. And I think she's about to have an amazing tournament. And you're going to see a new star emerge. And then, of course, there's a lot of this team that has a chance to demonstrate what they can do. And we're going to discover some new stars and some new players to fall in love with. And the one last player I will say is Naomi Girma, who is anchoring the defense at 23 years old. I think a player who's also going to make a mark on this tournament.
Yeah, I agree. There's definitely Raheem mentioned some names that stick out for me. A lot of people know this, but I am a huge Alex Morgan fan. I just like players who almost, I think they call her like a baby horse, but she plays sort of like a pony to me. But I like players who kind of go leg first. I always have. I kind of like that Holland vibe where they're just like power strikers. I'm so excited to see her play in another World Cup. She is a step slower, just being older. She came back from her pregnancy, which is amazing. But she's still like such an awesome playmaker too. I think they're probably going to play her in the center. I know like Trinity Rodman, and they might be pushed to the wing, Sophia Smith. And I think that just like goes to show how important she is. Like, I just think she has obviously she's been on the international pitch many times. I think she understands what's cool about these younger players is they're going to get to shine. They have these attacking big moments, but I think you still need a player like Alex Morgan who knows how to, kind of understands the structure of whatever is going on. So the other player I was gonna say I'm super excited about is Trinity Rodman. I mean, she's first of all, I think she's just getting everyone excited, just being, having that household name. It's
Trinity
nice
Rodman, yeah.
generationally, Dennis Rodman's kid, but she's also she's a very high paid player. She's kind of has her own style. She's so aggressive. She's funky. Like she just adds, I think, some like style to the pitch. She's chewing gum all the time. She's a vibe. And I think
She is
that's
a vibe.
good for the women's team, for the US team. I think we need more of that like younger, spunkier energy.
Now, the Luka Modric of this team, I did want to say, he's my favorite player, Lindsey Horan. Her ability to orchestrate, she's a magician in the center. Just keep an eye out for her.
Okay, before we move on from the U.S. women's team, because I do want to talk about the rest of the world. Who's rocking the best? Who's rocking the best cut for this game? Who's got the best? Who's got the best hair? Shauna, you did it for the men's tournament, so you got to do it for the women. Who's got
Yeah,
the best?
I always look out for the hair. Definitely Crystal Dunn for sure. I think her hair is so cool. It's almost, I think Megan Rapinoe did her hair first. They're both rocking the blue, but Crystal Dunn to me kind of has like a better version of the Weston McKinney attempt that we saw. No one's going to be confusing them with France.
Yeah.
And I'm into it. I think it's awesome. It's it's very long. Even Alex Morgan with her like ponytail flying everywhere, that pre-wrap. I used to always rock the pre-wrap, but like you kind of forget how you got to get used to playing with the different hair. It's always
Yep.
fun to see World Cup hair.
It is. Now, speaking of other teams, you guys both mentioned it. This is a tournament where it's not going to be a cakewalk for the U.S. by any means. As Shauna just said, it's probably the most competitive tournament, at least in recent memory. So let's talk about some of the other players to watch. So I'm gonna show the groups now. We'll kind of see how that's looking.
So personally, I'm really excited to see Marta play. I mean, she has scored more goals in World Cups than any male or female player. She is a record breaker. She's older now, obviously, but she's still got it. She's arguably one of the best players of all time, and I think it's really cool. It's going to be really cool to see her play again. And don't discount Brazil. I would say Group B is probably the group of death, but I wouldn't discount F. It's a pretty challenging group as well. Those definitely stick out to me as the most challenging.
I couldn't agree more. Group B is a nightmare if you're any of those teams. We saw Ireland is a very compact team. They played the US quite well in those friendlies. Nigeria, really exciting attacking team. Canada, of course, and Australia being the host nation. So this is a very, very, very competitive group. And I agree, Ashana. Group F with France, a team that's really exciting. So France has hired Hervé Renard as their manager. So this is the same manager who took the Saudi Arabian men's team into the World Cup and beat Argentina in the first game.
Yep.
So this is the same manager, a really good motivator of players. It's an exciting hire. It's an exciting team. Young, talented, but they also have some experience. So look out for France.
Yeah. So then just quickly to touch on the U.S. group. So U.S. will start off with Vietnam, and then their toughest game of the group against Netherlands will be the second game, and they'll finish with Portugal. So I think the first game, it should be fairly straightforward, but
Yeah.
after that, it gets a little bit dicier. So
I think the first game is going to be a blowout, to be honest. I think it will be. I think it's Netherlands is going to be pretty challenging, but I've never been less nervous for a game. Honestly, a US game. It's been a while since that's happened because the boys don't make that easy for us. So it'll be a nice little. I can actually have a little sparkling water and chill.
Yeah, Vietnam. You heard that the challenge is thrown out to you. Make it make it a competitive game. But anyhow, so based on this, now it comes to my next question, which I want to pose to both of you, and that question is, who is the biggest threat to our title defense?
I would say it's probably Germany. I would go with that.
Yeah, this is a German team that was very, very close to winning the Euros. But the team they lost it to is coming to this tournament with a lot of confidence, and that's England. England winning that European championships. They're a team that comes in this tournament with a ton of confidence. And if you watch the BBC, you'll see that they're quite confident about their team going into this tournament as well. So there's a sense of football coming home, as they like to think. But this is a good England team. It's a very good England team. But just like the US, they have injuries, right? So
Yeah.
Beth Mead is not here. She's not going to be playing in the tournament. Fran Kirby not going to be playing in the tournament. So there are English players that are missing from this team. But this is a talented England side that also has the confidence of winning a major tournament. So they don't have the typical English nerves. So it'll be interesting.
All right. So basically, finishing it off, I think we'll end here. Is given all the challenges now, Alex Morgan is not the same player she was before. Lost Mal Swanson, lost Becky Sauerbrunn, and the world has caught up a little bit. What would it mean for the U.S. women's national team to three-peat?
This is the most exciting women's tournament that I feel like I'm watching since '99, just with the level of competition. Also, even like Megan Rapinoe and Rose Lavelle, like I don't really know what's happening with their injuries. Like coach says they're fine, they're fit, but I don't know. I don't know. It's all very like up in the air. I feel like everything, and I really feel like if we get it this tournament, it shows how far we're coming in the sport, in women's sports in general, and how the competition is raising and how it's less of a monopoly. And for me personally, like when we were growing up, I remember watching the '99 World Cup live, like in our living room when Brandy Chastain scored that penalty and had that iconic celebration that was met with both contempt and praise. Obviously, I thought it was super badass and amazing. And, for me, it was like also personally, I've always sort of resonated with the men's team because they sort of speak to my experience of being a first generation American, being kind of that of an underdog. And that's like the American experience I understood. But when I remember watching that '99 final and being like, oh, wait, this is like an America that everybody else sort of embodies that's possible. And I think, growing up as, a girl who played soccer and volleyball and like understanding how you can feel that same passion and how it's, as important and impactful. I think it's great. And I'm feeling like I'm already feeling the energy. And so it would be great. It would be feel very well earned, I would say.
This would be undoubtedly the most impressive of the World Cup victories, right? Adding that fifth star, this would be extremely impressive for a couple reasons. The adversity that this team has had to deal with already is at unprecedented levels, and then the eyes of the world are on this team. The competitive nature of this tournament is at an all-time high. This would be the most difficult one to three-peat in these circumstances. And there's 14 new players on this roster, 14 players who will have never set foot on a World Cup, who don't know what it means to represent the country at this level. And yet there's this strange thing in sports that happens where a jersey, like a simple piece of cloth with some stars above the crest, can imbibe this confidence in these players and make them feel like they've done it a million times before and that they were part of those teams that came before. And this is the beauty of this program, that somehow, even though they're so inexperienced, even though there's a 23-year-old in the back, there's 18-year-olds up front, that somehow this team, you just trust them. You just trust that they have the spirit of the teams before them. And I don't know what it is. It's like osmosis from the US jersey, but now's not the time to doubt this team, because when have they ever let us down in the past?
Yeah, so I'm taking it that you both think that they're going to get it done when it comes time to raise the trophy. So, yes.
I think they're going to definitely make the final. I think that's my prediction.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Are they
Okay.
winning or not? There's no getting around this.
I'm going to say
When
they're
you come
going to
on
go.
the show, I force people
Oh
to make
God.
decisions.
I can't say they're not going to win, just being a US soccer fan. So this is my prediction though. They're going to reach the final. I don't think the final is going to be the easiest thing. I don't think the road in general is going to be easy once they hit knockouts. But
So, Shauna, you're calling a US-Germany final, right? Do they beat Germany or no in the final?
Yes.
Okay,
They do.
Rahi,
Yeah, I mean the nice thing is that they avoid on their side of the bracket. They avoid France, they avoid England, they avoid Germany if they win the group. So the final is very much within reach. Do they win the final? Yes, and I think it's against England, and I think the US does win. Do I think it's going to be easy? Absolutely not. But
yeah, I'm not gonna make a prediction on who they play, but I think it's gonna come down to the wire, and I think they're gonna get it done. Everyone tune in tomorrow night. It's gonna be a fantastic game. And the whole country is gonna be behind the US women. As always, now I get to say it for the US women's team as well. Go USA.